Today's Grand Prix of Europe is being run over a very different circuit from the track the Formula One cars last raced over in 1976. It's been reduced in length from more than 14 miles to just under 3, and it boasts some of the most up-to-date facilities in the world. And with either Niki Lauda or Alain Prost assured of the Drivers' World Championship, today's race marks the return of Lauda to the scene of his near-fatal accident 8 years ago.
I mean, it doesn't really need me to go back to the Nürburgring to think about my accident, because I still remember it very well. But I don't really have any bad feelings when I go there. I mean, it's over, really. I mean, I go there like to any other race.
Well, today, Niki Lauda starts the Grand Prix in 15th position because he had a disastrous practice on Friday, qualifying well down, and yesterday, on a rain-soaked circuit, he couldn't improve. Pole position for the 8th time this year is held by Nelson Piquet, with Prost second, Tambay third, Rosberg fourth, the two Ferraris of Alboreto and Arnoux 5th and 6th, Warwick 7th and Mansell 8th. But Niki Lauda isn't the only one who's unaccustomably well down on the starting grid. Elio De Angelis is 23rd and Stefan Johansson is 26th and last. So there are 3 of the top men who'll be going for it extra hard when the lights turn green. Directly opposite me as I sit here, Nelson Piquet, then Alain Prost. In the yellow car is Patrick Tambay third on the grid, then Keke Rosberg, followed by the 2 Ferraris. They're going from here, when the lights go, from red to green, down to the first right-hander, turn 1, which is immediately followed by the left. Who leads into the right at the end of this short straight, with Patrick Tambay going up and taking second position away from Nelson Piquet. So the Frenchman in the Renault is already meaning to be up front, as he was in Italy, and 2 cars gone off. One of them is the Arrows, but I didn't see the other 2 clearly enough. It was the ATS of Gerhard Berger. I can't identify the third one, but we soon will. And Alain Prost is leading on lap 1 in the European Grand Prix as they drop down to the hairpin.
As while we look at that, I noticed that Niki Lauda must have made a pretty good start. He was in just guesstimating at a grid something like 10th place, so it looks as if he's moved up on his grid position, so he'd be well happy with that if he can.
Well, it's Ghinzani there who's in trouble. The third man was Piercarlo Ghinzani, so his European Grand Prix didn't last very long in the Osella. Alain Prost with 5 victories under his belt, who has to finish in front of Niki Lauda to keep his World Championship hopes alive, and there was Lauda, leading then from Patrick Tambay. They're coming now through the chicane, the very fast 4th gear, 155-mile-an-hour section. Niki Lauda is already up into 9th position, and it's Prost, it's Tambay, Piquet third, Warwick. Derek Warwick is 4th, ahead of the 2 Ferraris of Michele Alboreto and René Arnoux, and you're looking on lap 2 out of 67, with already the course car out to pull somebody away. And Alain Prost going now through the sweeps on the way down through Ford Curve, 4th gear up to 170 miles an hour, dropping down then to the right-handed hairpin at the lowest point of the circuit. And the Frenchman with those 5 victories behind him, and it's Fabi. Theo Fabi in the Brabham is out of the Grand Prix. So already at least 3 competitors out. Fabi, Ghinzani, Berger, unless he has been able to rejoin, but Fabi gets going again and is in the race, and the gap between the Frenchman and Tambay is just about 3/4 of a second, that's all, and you can see that Piquet is in the wheel tracks and Niki Lauda is up into 8th position.
Yes, and just moving past one of the Alphas there into 7th place. So Lauda is fairly carving through the field. He will be very happy indeed with his progress at this stage to be up into 7th place after a couple of laps. That's assuming that he completed the overtaking manoeuvre.
So we look at now Tombay 2nd, Piquet 3rd, Warwick 4th. There goes Alboreto 5th, Arnoux 6th, and Lauda's closing right up on him to take him with the 2 Alfa Romeos of Patrese and Chiva in 7th and 8th positions, and they go through now, completing their 4th lap, and we're going to see Niki Lauda, I think, come out from underneath the rear wing of René Arnoux as Patrese and Chiva, and look at Elio De Angelis, who is now up into 9th position. So Elio De Angelis has made even better progress in terms of place gains than Niki Lauda, because Elio De Angelis is up into 9th position. There he is in the black and gold JPS, followed by Thierry Boutsen there in 10th position, and as you see, Prost is fastest so far.
Yes, and Nicky's problems are now he's getting into the teeth into the problem, because for the first time he's stuck behind the car. He caught René Arnoux very quickly, but the cars are just that little bit too evenly matched for Nicky to have a go. So now he's going to have to put his thinking cap on and try and work out a way round. Until he reached Arnoux, he's been able to just drive past the others on the straight. But as we thought a few minutes ago, he's in amongst the more competitive cars, so things are going to get a little bit tougher for him, and he's really going to have to work at this passing, because of course, remember, he can't take any risks. He must finish.
As we look at Alain Prost now on his 6th lap, this must be very reassuring for him, because his car from behind his shoulders has been completely rebuilt since the half-hour warm-up period this morning. New engine and new rear suspension. Well,
and as they went past us on the start-finish line, Lauda has actually passed René Arnoux. So Niki Lauda has moved up into 6th place. He's ahead of René Arnoux, and now he's got Alboreto to deal with. There is Alain Prost, stretching away the lead, very comfortable for him. And as I say, of some annoyance probably to Niki, who would have liked to have seen Prost under pressure, because this is a very difficult race for him if he gets under pressure, because he must win it, but of course he can't afford to make a mistake, and that all adds up to being pressure.
Elio De Angelis is up into 7th place. He's got ahead of him now Piquet there, who is 3rd. Warwick, Alboreto, Lauda, 4th, 5th and 6th, and of course the leader Alain Prost and the 2nd place man Patrick Tambay. Nearly 20 seconds now, so Alain Prost, as they go past the old Nürburgring historic grandstand, which has been, and Alboreto challenging Warwick. Derek Warwick, he's a very tough, determined competitor, is Derek, and he's going to take a lot of passing.
Yes, Warwick took the inside as soon as he saw things coming out. Nicky's having a look now, and it's really warming up this dice. I think Nicky would be very pleased to see Alboreto get past Warwick. I think he feels he'd have more chance of getting past Warwick, but he needs something to develop, and that would be better than nothing. Obviously, ideally, he'd get past Alboreto himself. And of course, if the two in front start fighting, that, because they'll be watching each other and slowing each other down, that will increase Nicky's chances of a gap opening for him.
Currently, Alain Prost has reduced the deficit from 10.5 points to 2.5 points. If both he and Lauda finish where they are now, that is to say in 1st and 6th places, because Prost started this race 10.5 points behind Niki Lauda in the World Championship. He's currently on 9 points. Lauda is on 1 point, but I think Lauda is going to go through soon. He's really pushing Alboreto in front of him. Johansson has called into the pit Stefan Johansson in the Tolman Hart, who was in 3rd position. And as Warwick, Alboreto and Lauda go through 4th, 5th and 6th, completing their 18th lap, it is Prost leading, Tambay 2nd, Piquet 3rd, then a gap of 7 seconds to the battle you're seeing now for 4th position between Derek Warwick in the Renault, Michele Alboreto in the Ferrari, Niki Lauda in the McLaren. Lauda forcing Alboreto on to Warwick, who has to keep both of them behind him. Derek Warwick, who has driven quite superbly for the Renault team, which he joined this year, led in Brazil, finished second in Belgium and at the British Grand Prix, third in South Africa and Germany, and fourth in the San Marino race, but with 9 failures to finish, is only in 6th position in the World Championship. It's Prost, Tombe, Piquet, Warwick, Alboreto, Lauda, De Angelis in 7th position, Arnoux is 8th. There is the race leader. I've started my stopwatch and I'll give you the gap between Alain Prost, who's going down into turn 1 and then turn 2, starting to drop down to the hairpin. I'll give you the gap between him and the battle for 4th when Derek Warwick goes through. Tombe and Piquet have already done so, as Prost is now onto the Hatzenbogen, up to the chicane, and the gap is 23 seconds now. So Prost is actually pulling away now from that tight battle for 4th position between Warwick, Alboreto and Lauda. Joe Gardner, the leader of these 5, although he's a lap behind, in fact, if you follow me, is only in his 7th Grand Prix, an ex-Formula 2 driver, famous for being difficult to pass. So if Gardner gets rattled by seeing 3 cars forming up behind Baldi, who's immediately behind him, this could dramatically change the pattern of the race as Warwick catches Baldi and is passing him now as they come up to the chicane. Baldi moves across and lets Warwick through, but blocks, as he's got to get through the corner, Michele Alboreto, but Michele Alboreto goes through and now Lauda spins off, because Niki Lauda there just got it wrong, coming up behind, and he's lost a lot of time.
He's all right, he kept his engine running. Well, that was a big moment for Lauda, and well driven in a way. He was having a go to pass, but he's back in the race, and he'll soon... He didn't lose a great deal of time. It won't take him long to recatch that group, but that is a major problem. Here we see it again. Now Lauda is trying to get inside Alboreto. He's going a bit quick. He locks the rear wheels, loses the back of the car, no grip at all there, and it was just a little bit of over-anxiousness, but he kept it cool and he kept the engine running, because if he'd lost his engine, he would have been out of the race. A push start, and there we are. He's rejoined with De Angelis right behind, but I think he'll be able to pull away from De Angelis so long as he hasn't damaged his tyres. Of course, you can put flat spots on the tyres with them locked up like that and spinning, and they tend to go around a bit like the old threepenny bit when they've got flat spots on, and that could be nasty. But hopefully that's a low enough speed spin that it shouldn't be a problem.
And it demonstrated, incidentally, the quite incredible reflexes that racing drivers have got, because you will have noticed Niki Lauda coolly looking to the left and the right as he spun through 360 degrees to make sure he had got the car placed properly on the circuit, coolly to select a gear and motor away, and he's just ahead now of the 7th place man Elio De Angelis, but pulling away from him because the gap, and Lauda clouted the curve there, and he's lost a bit of time and distance. And again, Elio De Angelis in the JPS Lotus with its V6 Renault engine is closing on Niki Lauda, the double ex-world champion, with Alain Prost consolidating his lead. Here he is on lap 24 from Patrick Tombe second, Nelson Piquet third, Derek Warwick fourth, Alboreto fifth, Lauda sixth with De Angelis seventh right behind him. Then Arnoux eighth. Patrese and Chiva 9th and 10th in the Alfa Romeos. Nigel Mansell in 11th place and Andrea De Cesaris in the Ligier in 12th position, with Philippe Alliot bringing up the rear in 20th place, and he has already been lapped twice on the 24th lap. That is Elio De Angelis' JPS Lotus being dragged away by the very efficient German ONS marshalling system. That's not the driver, the man in the red overalls, is a member of the ONS. The race order on lap 42 is Prost leading Tombe second, Piquet third, Warwick fourth, Alboreto fifth, Lauda sixth, Mansell seventh, Arnoux in 8th position, Patrese 9th, and then Andrea De Cesaris 10th and has been lapped, as has Thierry Boutsen in 11th position, Theo Fabi in 12th position. Francois Hainaut, who is 13th, has been lapped twice, as has Mauro Baldi in 14th place, Gardner 15th, Eddie Chiva is I think, out of the race, because, yes, he is. Eddie Cheever is out, as is Alio, Palmer, Lafitte, De Angelis, Senna, and Keke Rosberg. And this, whilst we look at the race leader, is a good opportunity not only to pay a tribute to, and Tombe is going through, and this is a development, because Tombe has now got Nelson Piquet right with him. I said that I thought Piquet was going slower. Well, he was, but Patrick Tombe is now in the position of seeing Nelson Piquet and going through, and Nelson Piquet on lap 43 takes second position from Patrick Tombe in the Renault. So now it is Prost leading, Piquet second, Tombe third, Warwick fourth, Alboreto fifth, and Lauda sixth. The gap between Prost and Piquet is some 24 seconds. Here is Derek Warwick in the new third position, with Michele Alboreto fourth right behind him. And I suspect that Nelson Piquet, who is now really charging with the chance of catching, if he keeps at it, Alain Prost, although it's a pretty slim chance, is the fastest man, I believe, on the circuit, as into the pits at the end of the 45th lap comes Patrick Tombe. There he is, Patrick Tombe, who was second here for so long. There's Warwick with Alboreto right behind him, third and fourth, and the Renault mechanics and technicians gather around Patrick Tombe's V6 car. Another indication, I'm afraid, of the fact that this has been a quite dreadful season too for the Renault team, who for the first time, if my memory serves me right, since they won in 1979, look to be in the position of not winning a Grand Prix. And on lap 49 now, there is the race leader, Alain Prost, ahead of Nelson Piquet by some 29 seconds. Warwick third, Alboreto fourth, Lauda fifth on 2 points. Nat Mansell is up into sixth position because he's ahead of René Arnoux. Well, Nelson Piquet securely ensconced in second position. Lauda still the fastest man on the circuit and going faster all the time, albeit just a little bit faster because his previous was 121 miles an hour. And I'm watching here the start and finish point as Piquet is right on the tail now of Andrea De Cesaris. Nigel Mansell off and out, and that's hard luck because he was on his way for a point, and he's trying to get a fire marshal, I think, because it looks to me, yes, the back of the JPS Lotus is smoking badly, and you can see the turbo is on fire, and up arrives the fire marshal in the very nick of time to save the car from going up in flames. The turbo, of course, is absolutely red hot. This is lap 54, and Alboreto is really catching Nelson Piquet. He's well within sight. In fact, there's only about a couple of seconds in it between second and third places. Race leader there, Alain Prost, on lap 54. 13 laps to go in this 67-lap race. The excitement and interest now is twofold. Can Alboreto keep ahead? Can Alboreto catch Nelson Piquet? And can Niki Lauda, who is in fifth place, improve his position and thereby his chance of getting the World Championship at Estoril? Because he's certainly not going to get it here as the race is going at the present moment. And Niki Lauda is right up with Warwick now. There's the second of these two cars is Warwick.
Yes, and Lauda will be pleased with the back marker in front. That is potentially to his advantage in getting past Warwick, and he's in a good attacking position now. He was quicker out of the hairpin, but of course this is a very quick S behind. There's no real braking, and that's the problem. These straights are so short that a mistake, you can get away with the mistake by the time you get to the next corner, the other guy hasn't really had time to do anything about it. So Lauda, they're safely past the back marker. He got nicely and gentlemanly out of the way to let the major antagonists get on with it. But very, very important fight here for Niki. He's got to find a way round, and up here going into the last corner is where things are the hairpin, but Warwick's very quick into that, and Nicky certainly isn't close enough this time, although he's quicker out of it.
And now Alboreto is exactly 2 seconds behind Piquet, who is second, as Lauda again right under the rear wing of Warwick's car in 4th position. Warwick, Lauda in 5th on 2 points. If he can get up that extra place, it'll give him 3 points in the World Championship. We've got 2 tight battles in the first 6 now. Prost on his own, Piquet and Alboreto fighting for 2nd place, and this battle for 4th between Warwick in the yellow Renault, Lauda in the McLaren, and Arnoux in the 2nd Ferrari is 6th.
Terribly, terribly important, this extra point for Nicky. And Nicky's having a look, he's having a look. And Warwick makes himself pretty wide. He wasn't giving any quarter there, but I see smoke in the background. I don't know what that is, but that, of course, can't be one of the cars we're really interested in, because this is what we're really interested in. He needs to be more than 3 points ahead of Prost, you see, going into Estoril, so that if to win the championship, he can follow him home. Oh, and Nicky's got it coming out inside, and Warwick really made a mess there. I think Warwick may be in a little bit of trouble, but he made a terrible mess of that corner, and Nicky just drove past him. So that'll be a great relief for Nicky. And now he's got to set off after the Piquet-Alboreto battle. He's about 6 seconds behind that, so he's going to have to go a bit. They've only got some 12 laps to go. Well, the battle royal going on for 2nd place, and well, I say a struggle, I should say, not a real battle yet, because Alboreto just can't quite get onto Piquet's tail. Piquet's just managing to keep a little bit of air between them. They've dealt with some back markers, and Alboreto hasn't been able to use that. But both these drivers battling for 2nd place are absolutely on the limit. It's a real sprint finish going on there. Lauda, in the meantime, I think has really settled for his 4th place. He's slowed right down, he's conserving fuel, he's decided not to take up the cudgels and chase, and I think that's probably a very good decision in the circumstances.
And Derek Warwick is now definitely out of the European Grand Prix because he has stopped.
Yeah, and it looks as if Piquet is going to be able to hold on to that 2nd place. They've really holding stations. They're both driving absolutely flat out. Piquet found that little bit extra, and Alboreto, although he caught up to about a second away from him, just can't get any closer than that.
Alain Prost now is on his penultimate lap. He's on lap 66 out of 67. He's only got this and the next one to go to make it his 6th win out of 14 races, with his teammate Niki Lauda having won 5 as well. And if Alain Prost finishes this lap and the next one where he is, having led from the first corner of the first lap in a car which is not the same as the one which he drove in the half-hour warm-up session, because it has a different engine and a different rear suspension, he's overcome that problem. He's overcome the psychological problem of having crashed in that warm-up, and it looks as though he's got 9 points in the bag. Here he is through the chicane to start the last lap. Alain Prost on his way to his 6th Grand Prix victory of 1984 starts the last lap, which could and almost certainly will give him 9 World Championship points. In 4th position behind him is teammate Niki Lauda, leading the World Championship by 10.5 points, will get 3 points. So that means to say that the differential will have been closed by 6 points, and there will only be a 4.5 point lead for Niki Lauda as they go into the last Grand Prix of the year in Portugal at Estoril on October the 21st. But now back to the present, and Alain Prost in the Marlboro McLaren with its V6 Porsche designed tag engine which has literally swept all before it in 1984, is up to turn 7, the left-hander, and on his last lap.
Well, the McLarens have dominated the season to such an extent it's been a little bit one-sided, but at least they're going to give us a real grandstand finish in the World Championship. So Alan Prost comes up to complete, collect his 9 points, and then we go in to Estoril for the last round of the championship with battle absolutely joined, and a perfect finish to a very good season for McLarens.
Prost exits the Roma curve, crosses the line. He has won the European Grand Prix, the first ever to be held at the new, shortened Nürburgring, and gives a victory salute, and I am sure a smile of exultation inside that helmet of his, because he's still there. He's still in with a chance, and Alboreto is finishing second as they come out of the last corner. Alboreto is across the line in second place, and he's running out of fuel, and so is Nelson Piquet. What a fantastic finish. Both second and third place men, with the positions reversed from the previous lap, run out of fuel and coast in at the end of the last lap. So, at the end of what turned out to be a truly dramatic European Grand Prix, victory for the 6th time this year to Alain Prost in the Marlboro McLaren. Second, Alboreto in the Ferrari, just ahead of Nelson Piquet in the Brabham, both of whom ran out of fuel on the line. Fourth, and vitally so, Niki Lauda. Fifth in the Ferrari, René Arnoux. And sixth, but lapped, Riccardo Patrese in the Alfa Romeo. Well, now, you went out in the race in a car that was quite different to the one that you used in the warm-up, with a new engine and a new rear suspension, and it was still okay.
The car was absolutely perfect, but she was also perfect in the morning, but I had a little problem. I spun and I hit a safety car, and the suspension was not really damaged, but we have preferred to change it. And at the same time, I had a problem with the engine, a water leak, and we changed the engine, so it was on the limit to take my race car for the race. But the car I had today was absolutely perfect, and I never had a car like that.
Marvellous. Well, if you had no problems with the car, did you have any problems lapping people? You were doing a lot of that.
Yeah, but everybody were very smart today. They showed me the right way, and I had no problem at all. I mean, it was a very easy race. For me, the problem is I had a big pressure on my shoulders before the race, so I had to be careful, and the problem was to keep the concentration until the end. But today it was so important that I couldn't have done a mistake.
How did you feel in yourself, Alain? Because you were under colossal pressure. You could have lost the World Championship at this race. Did it get you down at all?
No, because I am much more fatalist than last year, and I think this year I have nothing to. I did everything I could do, and I was not very lucky the last 2 or 3 races. But if I have to win the championship, I'm going to win it because I'm quicker than Niki, I think. And I think today was very important. But even if I lose the championship, it's not. I mean, I don't want to kill me. I'm going to try again next year. But at the moment, I think I have a good chance.
Well, you're after 6 incredible wins this year. You're now only 4.5 points behind in the championship. You've still got a lot to do in Estoril. Do you think you can do it?
Yes, because I have a good motivation, and I think I'm going to win again in Estoril. So the problem will be what is going to do Niki.
If you do win it, you're going to be the first Frenchman ever to win the World Championship. That'll make you the hero of France, I'm sure.
Yes, but that will make me the hero in France if I win it, but that makes me a lot of pressure at the moment if I don't win it. That's a big problem.
Well, despite a superb drive, Niki Lauda is not very happy with his performance today and doesn't want to be here now. But with me, I've got his old teammate, John Watson. So, John, let's look forward to Estoril. How do you see things there?
I honestly can't see any reason why a McLaren will not win the race. Currently, Prost, or in fact, all season, Prost has been the quicker of the 2 drivers, both in qualifying and in a race. It always hasn't gone his way, but he is, on balance, just the quicker of the 2 drivers. But all Niki must do in that case is finish second, which sounds quite easy. It's not. It's very hard, in fact.
John, this has very much been the year of the turbo, with incredible domination by McLaren. What do you put that down to?
Well, first of all, it's been the year of the tag turbo, because everybody else has languished in their sort of victories. So The engine's one part of the car. The car is fantastic. The chassis, the aerodynamics, the engine, the preparation, the whole package, drivers included, and that has just been the best all-round compromise. Though I think a lot of teams in their preparations for 84 or in their designs came up with cars that were not as good as they certainly had hoped them to be.
Well, with Prost and Lauda, who do you see as being the top drivers of 1984?
Well, I tend to put in my order of preference, in fact, I put Piquet as #1 driver, Rosberg as second, and Nicky and Alain Prost somewhere equal third. I can't quite divide them because while they're both outstanding, they both have done silly things during the season. But I think the other two, had they the same cars, would have been even better than Nicky and Alain have been. And that's hard to say, but I think it's the case.
Well, that'll make you a few friends at home, John. Now,
Well,
finally, who is going to win the championship?
I'm going to take a big deep breath and say that Alain will win. His luck has been off and on. It's gone hot and cold. One race he's won, the next he's retired. He is due for maybe a little bit more luck. The kind of luck he had at the start of the season, the kind of luck Nicky didn't have. So I'll have to say Alain at this stage.
The Marlboro McLaren men have done it again. Will they do it again at Estoril? Because it's all going to be decided there on October the 21st at the Portuguese Grand Prix, and we hope that you're going to be there with us to watch it.